Have we checked our mics? Microphone check 1 2 1 2.
Mic check 1 2 1 2.
Welcome to Community Cuts, live from Brooklyn, New York, at Salon Leahing, 732 Washington Avenue. If you're looking for a great barber, great beautician, great energy, come to the right place. 732 Washington Avenue. Furthermore, let me give you the telephone number, 718-230-4100. Live from Brooklyn, New York, Salon Leahing.
Hello. I wasn't sure when we were going live. Hi, Ricky.
Hi, Donnatella.
Let's try that again. Hi, Ricky.
Hi, Donnatella. How are you, dear?
All right. I am well. I'm an Aries. You got to come with a little bit of force here.
Mm-hmm.
So it is Friday after Labor Day.
I just realized that it is Friday. Yes, very nice time. No more work during the week. We have a weekend, and we are going to enjoy it.
Oh, I'm unemployed, so I didn't work during the week at all. And maybe my mother would say I should not have been on the Parkway celebrating Labor Day because Labor Day is about labor, right?
Yeah.
I learned something today. I went to the first meeting of the AACEO organization at Anatok. I think Anatok Baptist Church. Did I say that right? Under Pastor Waterman. That is one of my favorite monthly meetings. And there is Dr. D. Bailey. She's a very powerful doctor, powerful speaker. She informed me that if you go way back to when Labor Day started, it actually used to be a lot of the union workers, right? It's all about labor, Labor Day, right? So those union workers used to march in the parade and celebrate Labor Day. And now I also discovered that the official name, I'm going to go back to my little drawing that I have here because it surprised me how many people are not familiar with the correct name.
The actual name.
And I would be one of those, right? So it is the West Indian American Day Carnival and Parade. And here's a trick question for you listeners. Do you know who that parade is organized by? Ding dong. Anyone?
No, I don't know.
Okay. It is the West Indian American Carnival Association. That's who organized the parade.
I do know that.
I know. I think it's Wiaka is how people pronounce it.
Is it on Utica Avenue, their office? Utica?
Well, you know what? Now I'd be playing myself if I said it is. It's possible. Sounds like a great location,
yes.
Right? Again, that's West Indian American Carnival Association. And here's what I want to challenge people to do, because I learned some amazing things. Pastor Louis Straker Jr. of the Reflections Brooklyn Church explained to me that there are some $500 million in revenue that's generated over the Labor Day holiday.
Isn't that a lot of money? Wow.
That is a lot of money. Yeah. And if you are a small business owner with a brick and mortar, or you're a content creator, or you're a sole proprietor, or you're someone that has a product or service that could be pushed toward that group, and you didn't make $1 this weekend like I did not, we need to organize now for next year.
Yep.
Because that just makes no sense, right? One of the other things that Pastor Straker shared, besides the $500 million, is the amount of amount of NYPD officers that are on the Parkway. So something like 2,000 officers. And when you put that against 2,000 officers, 2 million individuals were on the Parkway, that ratio is kind of, unbalanced.
Well, our man in blue is retiring. He's dropping out of sight. He's quitting. The force is dwindling down to just a phone call. So if you do need a cop that bad, you better start supporting them. They seem to be disappearing.
Well, and so remember that the opinions that are shared on this platform are not necessarily those of our founder of our Community Cuts, which is Mr. Duke Sanders, but the individuals in which that are statements. So, and some of what we say may not be 1,000% factual, right? And I just want to say, in any career, there's an age in which people retire, right? There are various entities that sometimes talk about defunding the police, right? Or not being appreciative of NYPD. This is, for what I believe, a bipartisan platform, right? Where Duke opens the doors for people who represent all walks of life in our 5 boroughs to come on and share what they believe in, what they want to give to the community. And with that said, I wouldn't say that personally a lot of police are going away and it's going to be just a phone call. I will say, though, we have a very important election that's coming up in November, and you have to pay attention to what those candidates are talking about, right? And I believe one of the more popular candidates for mayor does talk about defunding the police, right? And so Catherine, who's back behind the camera controlling all the things, shared before we came live that her experience during the Parkway, for the most part, all positive, right? And when she saw NYPD, they were being very cordial, very friendly, letting people onto the subway. Duke shared with us that the subway riding was free, right? And so I think it's easy to say maybe you don't want police until you need one, right? I don't want to defund the police. I would like to get rid of some of the bad ones. And hold on just a second. Catherine's going to join us. She's getting mic'd up. This is a live environment. I'm so excited. And so I'm going to pass it on to you. What would you like to tell us?
I just wanted to comment that I agree it's a mistake, that whole idea of defunding the police. However, I think the issue is to demilitarize the police.
Okay. Can you share, for those who don't have the opportunity to see your beautiful, smooth skinned face, right? Could you tell us what demilitarize
the police?
Right. What that means?
Well, many years ago, might be 20, 30 years ago.
Okay.
The New York City Department of Mayors, Police, I don't really know, sent police officers to Israel to be trained by the IDF. And those police officers came back to New York and became militarized. They brought in military equipment and tanks and heavy weapons.
I remember that.
And they started an era in which, like, for instance, with the parade, up until this time, you could run in the street, you can dance. But after the militarization, they started fencing people in block by block. And this also came about during the time of the Million Man March, Million Family March. So there was an effort to bring militarization to our police force. And it's a separate force than the ones you see regularly on the block.
Okay.
And they come in whenever they're called, and they're wearing masks and all kinds of equipment. And they, in my opinion, create a violent atmosphere in the community, and it's not necessary. So my refrain is demilitarize the police. We don't need soldiers in our streets.
Okay, so I think that's a good conversation piece. since I love the sound of my voice, as my mother says, I'm first going to ask Ricky, would you like to provide any additional conversation?
Yes, I went through the citizen police at the police academy. 3 weeks of training. It was very militarized, as you said, and you had to salute your superior officer.
Mhm.
And I was saluting for about an hour. So
Was that part of, like, for someone like me who hasn't been through it, that almost sounds like a sort of hazing
no,
in the process.
no.
Okay, so saluting for an hour, teaching, were they teaching?
They teach you how to use
salute.
your elbow and
Mhm.
your hand to
Mhm.
salute. And the police officers in higher position took the opportunity and came out and saw us
Mhm.
and stood there and let us salute. There was about 80 of us, and they let us salute, and it was a good experience.
So
Very good.
after the training and you mastered it, you then received an opportunity to
You received-
officially salute a real officer.
In the street, you could, but
Okay.
it's really, as a citizen police officer, you're not really required to.
Right. And
Required
so the reason why I'm stressing that,
You would have liked the police academy because there was young ladies there taking up the issue of OSHA,
mm,
taking up the issue of DAI,
D,
driving while intoxicating, how to drive while intoxicated, and what to do if you want to DEI also.
driving while, okay.
And
DUI.
DUI, I'm
driving
sorry.
under the
Yeah.
I just took the test for it and I passed, but still the DU it's
It's
horrible.
a lot of acronyms.
It's a horrible film to go through.
Which one? The DUI?
The driving while intoxicated. It tells you all the things, the hard times that the person goes through.
Oh.
So it's really a hard piece of information to take to gather and keep.
Oh, okay.
And the academy is surrounded by water. You have to cross a bridge. There's if it is an inclement day, you would have to wear according to what it is that the weather is, and you had to be checked coming in. So it was.
To make sure. Well, so the
You had
reason
to
why I asked,
take your coat off.
but the reason why I asked the question, I think there's a difference between something being militarized and teaching a matter of respect, right? So
It's not a matter of respect. No.
None of the police that I saw Labor Day were wearing helmets or anything. As a matter of fact,
That's what they used to wear. Yeah.
I understand. As a matter of fact, the NYPD, I walked the entire parkway. I started at the top at Grand Army Plaza and walked all the way on Eastern Parkway to Rochester because initially I was going to ride on the float with our public advocate, Jumani Williams, and I think it was Brad Lander, their float. But when I got there, they hadn't arrived as yet, and I didn't know any of the people there. And they explained that, there were certain people by invite who would be on the float, and, you could go somewhere else and meet where the constituents were. And my little Aries ego was a little bruised. And I decided, you know what they tell you, go where you're appreciated, go where you're loved. More importantly, in this instance, go where you're known. So every year I typically walk the parkway either with my assembly member, Brian Cunningham, or with Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce, which is Randy Pierce, who is the CEO. Everybody loves Randy. Randy's got more energy than I do, and Camille Hastings. And most people from Brooklyn know the Hastings family and all they've contributed. And this year I met Venture House, which is a nonprofit that focuses on mental wellness.
Where are they located?
Venture House?
Yeah.
I don't know. So
my brother's a part of Venture House. I don't know if it's the same one.
It has to be. Are the colors blue and gold?
I don't know the color.
Oh, well, very good. It was very exciting. I got to check a box off of my list of things to do before I go to heaven. So I actually rode on a float in the parade. So I walked up to them. And then the other thing that I like about the parade, if you come out early, this is going to be a double negative. No constituent in Brooklyn that should say they don't have an opportunity to make their voice count and to be heard, or reach out and touch their local council person, congress member, assembly member, or senator, because they're all there for you if you want to be seen. Walking down, I ran into our New York City mayor. He may not be some of your choices for mayor, but Eric Adams is my choice. He was the first person I saw at the beginning. If you got there early like I could, you would have been able to take a picture, make a short video, which I did. After the mayor, I saw, who did I see? I saw, Thomas D.
Napolitano. So.
No, it's Tom D.
Napolitano. Yeah, I can't say that.
Wait a minute. Thomas is his first name, and I can see it in my DiNapoli. I couldn't get it out. He is the comptroller, and I have walked in the parade with Thomas as well. He also is very active. A lot of our higher level officials don't come out into the boroughs. I remember meeting him at Suede, which is a Caribbean-owned restaurant on Clarendon Avenue, where they were giving away funds and awards to some of the Caribbean associations. This is a couple of years ago, and Thomas was there. Who else did I see? I saw Senator Kevin Parker, who's always everywhere, right? Got a hug from him. Assembly member Stephanie Zinnerman. She walked the entire parkway. I was so impressed at one point I had to reach out and say, hey, do you need some water, right? And gave her a bottle of water. And I'm going to talk about her a little bit later because she also has a hiring fair coming up on September 9th. I finally saw Jamani Williams. He has no idea that I was supposed to be at his float. That's fine because I'm nobody. But we took a picture. We did videos. Who else did I see? Oh, Council Member Mercedes. And the young lady who was so kind to come to your show, which we interviewed, what's her name? Crystal Hudson. I could not get her attention, but she was on the street marching. Bashat, assembly member. She's assembly member. She's a big shot actually. Rondice Bashat. Do you guys know Rondice?
Yep.
Rondice was there walking the parade. I mean, it was a who's.
I met her in Albany, Rondi and Bashat.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, and you know who else I met?
Nice lady.
Which I kind of have a crush on, but I believe he's married, so don't tell anybody. Our attorney, Lieutenant Governor, he raps. Do you guys know Antonio Delgado?
Yeah, I know him.
Yeah, he's probably about 6'2", 6'3".
Antonio.
Yeah, he's our Lieutenant Governor, right? That's his title?
That's him.
Yeah, so you guys out there.
Was any of the judges and the attorneys, any of them there?
I'm sure they were, but I have not met them. Again, this monthly meeting, which you should come to, sir.
Yeah.
And so should you, Duke, and so should you, Catherine. AACEO, the American Clergy Association, usually has top city officials.
Methodist individual people who are Methodist faith?
Well, we don't discuss your faith and your religious association at that meeting. They talk about all the key things that are happening. And this month's meeting was all about education. So and I'm going to get in trouble. I'll come back and say her name because I can see her face. But the chancellor for the Board of Ed, she made the choice to be there to talk about school. And oh my goodness, I'm gonna have to look it up and then we'll say it later. But she gave a very powerful speech talking about the trials and tribulations of Black and brown children in school, and how apparently this morning there was another report of children being separated from their families, and school just started. But did you know in the school system, there was a concerted effort and it was approved to remove cell phones from kids in schools, in the public schools. How do you feel about that?
You should see the behavior of children in school first before you say a judgment to them about their cell phone. They're throwing their cell phones at each other. Mm-hmm. They're calling each other in the middle of the day and saying, get out the class, come on, meet me over here, meet me over there.
Yeah, I get it.
It is a good idea for a break from your cell phone.
To not have your cell phone. So I saw some debate online. Don't know if Duke or Catherine want to chime in. With all the things that are happening in high schools, positive and negative, there are some parents who are concerned if you take the cell phones from kids who are in school and there's some unforeseen case of violence, how do those kids then reach out for help? And that's what I'm wondering. I'm not a parent, and so I wish we have a parent.
The school I work in, the school is cordoned off and separated and blocked by doors and blocked by the signs and notions and principals who are in the hallway. It is safe. It's very safe. The idea of kids running wild, it's not true. Inside the school, they don't run wild. Once they get out of school,
that's different.
That's
not really what I'm talking about. Is there any? Do you have children?
No.
Someone on here has a child?
My kids are grown up.
Yeah, but you still have been a parent. Can you take the mic for me? Thinking about when your child was in school, and that's a different time, because I think back then the concern was, because I got in trouble once before I was a senior, no, don't carry a beeper. Why would you want to carry a beeper? You look like a drug dealer, right? I'm just wondering, from a parenting stage, if you were parenting now, right? Or if you have a grandchild was old enough to be in school and carry a cell phone, do you think you would want that child to be able to have the phone and rely on the discipline that they would not use it at inappropriate times?
I probably would say no, because I know kids are going to be kids, and they're probably getting themselves into into different issues with their phone.
Okay. All right. Catherine, would you like to give us an opinion? And remember, the question was, do you think children, whether or not they should have a phone, and is there a concern that, if something should happen, they now have lost their ability?
I don't think the phone is the problem. I think violence is not being dealt with, and that's the problem. So a phone is just a technology. It can be good or bad. So my sense is violence is more the problem. So I would say maybe kids should have a place to park their phones like they park their boots.
They do. I forgot the name of
and they would still have access to it in an emergency.
Oh, well, that's a good point. Good point. One of the things that I thought about with children having phones is your inability to cut off the outside world. So in test situations, I think it might limit their learning curve, because you can easily Google an answer, right? I think there are some schools that provide laptops. There are children who are learning how to use ChatGPT and other AI in school, so much so that there are software programs now that if you are looking up information in ChatGPT and simply copying and pasting into a Word document or whatever software you're using, there's now software that can detect and read it to find the delimiters, whatever the term is for it, to see that, hey, this person literally is doing their work in ChatGPT and just copying and pasting it and submitting it. So I think it's both ways, right? If there were a way, which I'm sure there is with technology, right?
Yeah.
To limit the phone's access to only 911 calls while they're inside the classroom, then they could have the phones, right? But the other side, like you said, address the violence, keep the bad people out. and that's better because we
Well,
survived school without cell phones, so they should be able to survive school too.
the people,
I think also though the children are developing skills that we can't imagine yet
yeah.
with the chat
ChatGPT
GPT and stuff.
other AI. Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's anything you can do about cheating. If a kid is going to cheat, they're
Plagiarism
going to cheat.
is already in school. Plagiarism.
Yeah,
is
for
already-
forever since the beginning of time. You're right. Plagiarism, copying directly
I
from the
was going to say
encyclopedia.
that Apple and Google and Yahoo all would complain about the student's phone being manipulated to just receive 911 calls. So it's an idea, but
Yeah.
I think they would come up with something.
I'm kind of radical. To me, that sounds like preparing a child for a police state.
Well, we're already, unfortunately, preparing us for a police state, right? In some states, you already see that happening with the use of National Guard and things of that nature. Let's lighten the room just a little bit and talk about something fun. It was a long Labor Day weekend, and we're in New York City. Anybody have anything fun to share that you did this week, even if it wasn't related to Labor Day? You're always having dates,
Yeah,
so
I'm
you can
having
tell.
fun.
You can
I'm
tell
always
us about
having
your
fun.
dates.
I mean, the architectural profession always has a good time for an individual that is into architecture. We had a meeting for what was it for? It was for a project that is being built. The area where McDonald's is on Fulton and Flatbush Extension.
Fulton and
And
Flat. Oh yeah,
Verizon is there also. That building is going to be knocked down.
really?
They were talking about that all night long. But
What are they going to put there?
A tower, a mixed use tower for residential and commercial use for an individual that can afford it.
Ooh, but it will probably, if they want a tax abatement, have affordable housing.
Yeah, they'll have affordable housing. They do have that. I mean, they have a garden that's outside of the building, a garden, a park like a garden, and all that benches and all the issues of access. But they were not. It is not enough. It's not enough. Well, the people who live in that area,
Well,
Nevins and Flatbush and the other.
there's
parts.
a lot of new buildings there.
It is
I noticed
hair raising.
someone showed me that the first, I think it said PS 15, but I'm not sure. The first Muslim school is near that area, close to State Street and Flatbush, and that block of land is under construction. They've already built up a first-rate new school.
Yeah.
They're still working to renovate. The one thing I always question when you see construction or gentrification, it always breaks my heart that where you see new buildings and improved living, a lot of the people who lived in that area when it was unbearable or really dangerous now don't have the ability to benefit from all the improvement. So a lot of Black and brown and probably other families are being pushed further out from the city. And the first swarm that I've seen since I came to New York, and we're approaching the anniversary of 9/11, was after the 9/11 when people left the Tribecas and moved right across the bridge, was the development of, Vinegar Hill and Dumbo and all of those areas, right? That was the first part of gentrification. And those first couple of buildings, high-rise buildings that were built right at the mouth of the Manhattan Bridge in Tillery. And I won't say that building's name because people live there, but there's one building in particular that when they first put it up, its small pathway street is right next door to and what is NYCHA buildings, right? And there were complaints that gunshots from the NYCHA building were going directly into the luxury building. So tenants were breaking their leases and moving out. And I often ask myself, it's probably because, number one, you tore down whatever was there. And I think it was like groceries, some stores. They put in the luxury building. They put in, what's the coffee shop that everybody goes to?
Starbucks.
They put in a Starbucks. They put in facilities that really those tenants were not accessing or using, right? And I would think that has to be pretty depressing, right?
Yeah.
You're going through your struggle, and here comes this huge building that's blocking the sun out of your building and your little park area. And then right next to that is a building, a condo building, right? That you can't move in. And then you've been there for a million years. There's problem with parking, and here comes daily parking lots that have been added, and you can't
talking about trucking, the trucking delivering through that building.
Yeah,
it's always a trouble with new buildings, the trucking and the issues of delivery and access and entrance.
I have a fun thing to kind of share. So going back to AACEO, today, Pastor Waterman, who is the pastor of this church, had a special presentation of Waymo. Do you know what Waymo is?
No.
Waymo is mostly on the West Coast right now in San Francisco. That's the self-driving vehicle. You seen it on TV?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Where
I saw
you get
the accident that happened with it. He lost. He was praying behind the wheel that he doesn't crash and the car doesn't crash and kill someone.
Well, that can't be Waymo. Well, it might have been, but it shouldn't have been Waymo, because the whole idea of Waymo, there's no one sitting in the driver's seat. You're either sitting in the front passenger seat or the back seat. Yeah. And so guess what? Legislation hasn't been passed, but today I saw a one-on-one demonstration of the Waymo vehicle. Someone drove it in, but then they got out of the car and they explained how the car is set up. So beautiful, super attractive car. It happened to be, they're using Jaguar right now, right? And one of the things, have you ever seen a Google Earth car? Google has cars that drive through neighborhoods with cameras attached to it.
Yeah, I saw that.
And those cameras
take pictures. In front of my house one time.
Yeah, and that's a no-no. When you see them, you let them know to
there was nobody in it.
Yeah. So Google Earth, what it does, takes these pictures that made available from the satellite. So when you put in an address and you can see what buildings are there, same concept. So Waymo is equipped with cameras on the top and a 360, right? It also has speakers, right? So it's capturing visuals and audio, right? Beautiful vehicle. And they explain that right now they are the first automated car service. They've got a permit to drive in New York City. But before they can actually start making the cars available, legislation has to be changed on the state and the local level. And so the questions were asked, the question that I asked, in terms of privacy, what are the protections for the visuals that are being picked up in the background? Because the cameras go 24/7, and they have audio because Kyrie Edwards, who ran for Brooklyn Borough president, he was there. For those of you who are looking for Kyrie, he's on Irie Jam Radio. And his question was, he asked about if the cars are equipped to respect the bike lanes, if the cars are equipped to respond to our notorious double parking, because I never heard of basement apartments or double parking until I came to Brooklyn. I grew up in Maryland. I'm from the South. And so what I believe it was the CEO, what he said, CEO of marketing, I think, what he said was that every imaginable situation that occurs in the 5 boroughs has been programmed into these vehicles. Now they do need to do some more research and testing to ensure, but if you're in the bike road and the car senses you, it knows not to go into the bike lane, right? It knows not to go into the bike lane anyway. But if there's an emergency vehicle, it also is trained to respond to those vehicles that are coming and stop, which New York drivers do not do. I hope I never need EMT here, because you know you have these classes when you first get your license, and they say don't drive directly behind an ambulance or a police car because they can make sudden stops, or a fire engine. And if you're in tracking in New York, they do just the opposite. People race to get behind the emergency vehicles so they can zigzag through the traffic, which is insane. You know, you're supposed to pull over to the right and let them go. So I thought that was very interesting. I also asked, if you're in the car and there's no driver and you happen to have a medical emergency or you're under duress and there's no one else to do anything, what can you do? So apparently there is a panel in the back seat. You tap it, and within seconds, a live person comes on who can also trigger the cameras and see you. And because you're in the vehicle, they've got your GPS, so they can send you help.
Very good.
So I thought that was good. And then we asked another question. What if you get into the car and as you're entering...
this is a car that it is an automobile, or is it a mechanical?
It's a car. It's a very luxurious
I'm going to run into that sooner.
Jaguar. Well, it's not on the road yet. It was a very luxurious Jaguar vehicle. See if I can find the video of it to show you. But the cool thing is that when you're, let's see, so this is the vehicle, right?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you guys streaming. I'm sure you cannot see that. Maybe we'll add something in the YouTube stories of the channel, but it basically was a large, looked like it could seat maybe 5 or 6 people comfortably because there's a back seat. But there's definitely a panic button that you could do. And then also thinking about New York City nightlife, what happens if I call my Waymo, I go to get in, and somebody else gets in with me, right? And I can't get them out. You just have to be able to hit that panic button on the panel, and someone will come in. You know,
good. That's a good thing to have a panic button. There should be one in every car.
in real life, right?
Yeah.
But that's what your my dad, my biological father, because I have a blended family, drives a Cadillac. And what's that button? OnStar? Same thing, right? OnStar, as long as it can reach that satellite. Well, we'll reach someone, and OnStar can't turn on a camera and see you, right? But that was interesting, the Waymo. I don't know if the 5 boroughs are ready for self-driving cars with the way our people drive, right? Would you ride in a self-driving car?
Oh, no.
You wouldn't even, not even around the block?
I wouldn't touch it.
Catherine Duke, would you ride in a self-driving car?
Probably not in the city. I might do it outside the city.
So I won't say their name, I won't put them on blast. One of the people attending the meeting, that's what they said. They said they not sure it's good for New York City, but Long Island, places that I think longer roads, not as much traffic. Because sometimes we're bumper to bumper. How does it work, when traffic isn't moving going across the Brooklyn Bridge or the Manhattan Bridge? Or, oh my goodness,
stop and go traffic.
Yes, on the belt, which is always. Duke, would you ride in a self-automated car?
No.
No. I don't know that I would ride long term. Would I ride long enough to create some content? Absolutely. I will tell you, my personal shopper designer Emmanuel Whitmore was in San Francisco in a Waymo, and he said he got stuck and his car was going in circles. He eventually got out. He was able to connect with the powers that be that control the car, and he was able to come out.
I'm waiting for flying cars.
Yeah.
Well, I think they already have. So if you can Google it, they already have these 1-man, 2-man mobiles that are operating with drones, right? And I think it was Japan I saw has the flying car that's working. I don't know how that's going to work. That's really some George Jetson kind of thing.
Exactly. That's why I like it.
Yeah. You know, people can't drive. How are they going to fly?
Who would they give it to first? The flying car.
Well, who has it now? It's in Asia.
The police officer. The police officer. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, thinking of militarizing and NYPD, did you know that this year, I'll pick that up later. This year, I heard this was the official first time that NYPD, not sure if this is true, used drones to police the parade, right? When I thought drones, because I've seen NYPD drones outside my windows already. I live in Flatbush, right? So that was interesting. Remember, you guys, we are live in Leahing Salon. So there are beautiful people that come here, whether it's for barber needs, salon, styling needs. So you may see, oh, thanks, Duke. Duke is doing his stretching and yoga, picking up my phone. Thank you. And that's, I was showing them a video of the Waymo car today. One more thing before we go on. I'd like to talk about Medicaid and SNAP recipients under this administration and changes that are happening, right? So if you have Medicaid and if you have SNAP, you must be, like I am, what's going to happen to benefits under this administration? Well, I learned today that there are 3 ways in which you can keep your SNAP and Medicaid benefits. If you remember some time ago, they came up with the term, I think it was called workfare, where you had to work in order to have your benefits. Now there's 3 different things you can do.
Ticket to work, is that the same?
I think there was a different program, but right now you can be enrolled in school. And so some people say, I have no money to go to school. Well, right now you can get a 2-year associate degree from any CUNY or SUNY school, enrolling in those programs for free. And Pastor Waterman says something I thought that was really profound. Lots of us have jobs. Not as many of us have careers. We need a 21st century career, right? And so I remember a long time ago, even with unemployment insurances, when you lost your job and you filed for unemployment, there was a little box that said, would you like training? And so under that training, you could do the OSHA training. Yep. Because remember, being unemployed, you can also be underemployed, which means you might want to change industries. So if you think about what's happening now with AI, cybersecurity, and technology, here's your time to get a free 2-year associate degree and end up with a viable career. Because we already know there's not enough Americans in America, and this is not to slight anyone else, but legal people in America to fulfill a lot of the technical jobs that are going out to, let's say, India, Asia, Russia, people who have degrees in those fields. And so within 6 months, a year, 2 years, you could have the ability to go from making whatever cash assistance and food stamp assistance you're getting to having a real career that no one can take from you. And I think the verbiage that was used by someone else in the meeting, you need more than a living wage, right? And so on September 9th in Brooklyn at Restoration Plaza, which is on Fulton, and I don't like to give misinformation, so I'm going to go into my phone. I may even have to put on the people's glasses that I just dropped, but we're going to see, right? So there is a New York State hiring fair. Tuesday, September 9th at September 9th, 2025 at 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. First of all, you should print out your resume or have your resume in an email in your inbox or in your drafts, so that when you talk to people and they say, oh, can you give me your email? Can you give me your resume? Send it right off to them. Print out copies. If you can't afford to print out a copy, come with it saved on your phone so you can quickly send it. Restoration Plaza, I'm going to give you the address, 1366 Fulton Street. And so a lot of people will say, oh, you know, you go to these things, they don't have good jobs. I'm going to give you 3 just as an example. Okay, NYCHA Community Associate, right? But those of you who look at people in NYCHA uniforms and you kind of turn up your nose because of the way you feel about NYCHA, this is going to make you think a little differently. So for a community associate, and here's what your qualifications are: high school graduation or equivalent. So if you have your GED, come on down. Experience in community work or community-centered activities. Those of you who in these basketball clubs that meet in the park and you work with youth unofficially, that's your community experience right there. So starting salary, $44,545. Not bad, right? A high level salary, if you have experience, $74,134 annually.
Experience. When you're talking about experience,
all it said is experience in community work.
my younger brother is good at running a center.
Mm-hmm.
So
would he be interested in being a NYCHA community associate?
I don't know.
I don't know what they do, but that's a full-time job, benefits. He should check it out, or someone else. Let's go to another one. This one's one that surprised me, right? I'm not sure what a plasterer is, but recently I had a whole bunch of peeling, paint, water damage, and mold in my apartment, which I reported to HPD. And a young man came to my apartment and he told me he's a plasterer. I'm about to go tell him about this job because I know he's not making this in the building where I live, right? Base salary. Let's talk about qualifications first. 3 years full-time satisfactory experience performing plastering work. So that means you worked somewhere. Maybe you were in a union, maybe you weren't. Maybe you worked for your neighbor, someone who can give you a letter of recommendation, right? That is your qualification. Now, it says, and I think this has to do with another way that you can provide experience. So 3 years full-time experience, or I think this says, or level 5 years of full-time experience performing plus sufficient training of a relevant nature. So here is the base salary. Jermo, $116,688 a year.
For plasterer.
For plaster. And
yeah, my father made more than that. He was a good plasterer and a roofer. He made more than that in the 70s, you know.
So Ricky's trying to show off, but you guys stay focused. Do not be distracted. The devil is busy. So think about someone you know who is a plasterer and you know he or she is not making this kind of money. They're not getting benefits. Maybe they're not getting that allotted 30-minute break that they should in an 8-hour period. Maybe they're not getting paid time off or leave, right? That's the low. Guess what the high is? Base plus overtime. And this says with just 10 hours of overtime, this is the base salary. Anybody want to guess? Catherine, you want to try? There's no wrong answer. Nobody wants to try? $100,000. $60,446. Listen, I'm about to go hang out by Home Depot or somewhere looking for a plasterer to say, hey, I could change your life. I'm single. That might be how I have to get a boyfriend. So remember that one. And last, community coordinator. This is all with NYCHA. So this one gets a little more advanced, right? Qualifications, you need a bachelor's degree, right? And it says experience in community work or community-centered activities.
He doesn't have a bachelor's degree. So
low salary. What do you think the low salary is for a community coordinator? And right now, you guys are community coordinators. This is community cuts. We are coordinating, right? Low salary, $62,868. High salary, and we all are experienced. We've done a lot of community work. $97,593. This is for a full-time role in all 5 boroughs. I need to go back and stress before somebody gets in trouble. The community associate that had the $74,000 high salary, that's full-time all boroughs. In order to make that salary for the plasterer, that's full-time in Manhattan. That's the position that's available. So I got a couple of friends. I'm going to call them this evening, right? And so there is, I'll leave in the comments these job descriptions for this week's live. I'll also leave the link for you to apply. But I would say come in person Tuesday, September 9th, 2025, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m., Restoration Plaza. And do me a favor, reach out when you're there to Assembly Member Stephanie Zinnerman, right? Because that's who's making this possible. You want to say that you saw it on Community Cuts. Bring your resume. Some of us don't have good resumes, right? There's going to be resume workshops, but don't come if you don't really want a job. These people want to ensure that you keep your Medicaid and your SNAP, right? And so that's one way. You have to be in school. This is also a place where you go to find out about the CUNY and SUNY associate degrees that are available. And here's something else, which I thought was amazing. And I will probably see if we can upload it in Community Cuts stories. This weekend, I'm going to give you all something because I love you so much. I'm going to go ahead and create your Instagram account because these things need to be on Instagram. Stephanie, Assemblymember Zinnerman, she talked about you have to volunteer. That's another way that you have to, in order to keep your SNAP, right? So they have a training program, and the idea is that on every block of every Brooklyn borough, and really of all 5 boroughs, there should be at least one person qualified in CPR, right? So there's a training program that they have where you can go sign up. I'm going to take that class because I need all the benefits that I can get, right? And when you finish the class, not only do you get your certificate from the assembly member, right? Or from whatever entity they've set it up, you get a letter on letterhead from Stephanie Zinnerman. I'm pretty sure that's who gives you the letter that you can take to HRA to check that box that you've done your volunteer hours. Our city officials are doing everything possible to make sure that you don't lose your benefits. A lot of people think that you're losing your benefits not until next year. This is happening now. And if you have Health First insurance, I want you to say a prayer because right now, NYP, New York Presbyterian Methodist Hospital, is having a struggle with Health First in terms of negotiating their new contract. And one of the things that I'm going to be sharing is a health journey that I'm on. I have Health First insurance, right? And Health First has a horrible reputation of not paying their bills on time and then refunding the charges, right? My GYN, who's connected to Lenox Hill, when I showed up and told him I had Health First, his wife, who's also a doctor, said, "Oh, we hate Health First. They don't pay their bills, right?" And I have to tell you, that's another baby project of mine, writing our attorney general to say, these people suck. Let's do something about them. So right now, you have until November 2nd for New York Presbyterian to land a new contract with Health First. If they don't, people who are like me getting service, you have your primary care physicians or any physicians at NYP, after November, you're going to need a new provider, right? Or new insurance, because Health First is not the move, right? And so that's really scary, especially considering what type of treatments you're getting. So fingers crossed that by November 2nd, they'll be able to reach a new contract. But I'm trying to kick them to the curb right now, which you should be if you have Health First. Okay.
Very good.
All righty. So somebody else say something. I need to drink some
It's
water.
very informative. I did like the issue of individual that was athletes to learn how to be a health center worker or an employer.
Mm.
There's a plenty of athletes that are just unemployed, and they're waiting for the opportunity in order to get their coaching skills, referee skills, or their
Sports medicine.
Sports medicine, yeah. Their training skills, their ideal pitch for what sport they're into. So it's there for them, that kind of program.
All right. Well, it's 8:01. Do you guys want to wrap up or close up? How do we do our thing? Make sure you guys come back, read the comments later. We're going to put a lot of this information in the comments, and tell a friend.
Thank you, Donnatella. Thank you very much. Thank you, my brother from another mother. Thank you, Ricky. It's been an excellent show, and we learned a lot from both of you. Thank you so much. Until next week, we'll be here next week with a different conversation.
Awesome. Meanwhile, we're going to follow Ricky on his date tonight. I'm sure he has one.
Did you read what I gave you last?
I did, and I suck.